at Our Time to Rise, every once in a while, we like to do what we call fun and fire. Bring a little fun, we bring a little fire, and we just talk about some things that are happening that are on front of mind these days. So here we are, fun and fire, last week of July. We are thinking about what fun things do we want to still be doing this summer. That's our fun. Coming to a close, which how did this happen? And Krista and I think, are feeling it especially strong because we are going to be taking children to college in a few weeks. So we are feeling that pressure of how do we squeeze the most out of what's left in summer? So what have we not done? Sorry, let me start over. What have we not done that we still want to do this summer? Krista, let's jump into the fun. What fun do you still want to make happen this summer?
Well, I'm still inspired by our Italy trip. So I definitely want to do a homemade pasta night where we are rolling peachy. That is on deck. So that is for sure happening.
Okay, peachy. Is that a type of pasta?
Yes.
Okay, what is
It
it?
requires no machine. It's basic ingredients and you roll it with your hands. And it is so good. Like my boys love it. It's by far their favorite homemade pasta. So
Okay,
peachy. So that's what we're doing, homemade peachy. I have not done it. I also want to do a concert with a picnic in a park.
okay.
Everyone has free concerts all summer long. And why have we not done one yet? That is my question.
Okay, so got to get that on the calendar, the concert in the park.
Yes. So that needs to happen. I want to watch the sunset oceanside and eat fresh crab. And we are going to the Oregon coast for our goodbye weekend with our almost launching freshmen in college. And we do that weekend with them before they go to college. And so we always do it on the Oregon coast, which is drivable for us, driving distance. And we're doing that next weekend. So that is something I want to do, is sit on the beach and watch the sunset with the waves rolling up on the sand and eat fresh crab.
That is a very Pacific Northwest bucket list item, and I love it.
It totally is. It totally is. You know what else I haven't done yet? Kebabs and Mexican corn on the barbecue.
Yeah, let's just bring back the staples of summer.
Why have I not done kebabs? I haven't done kebabs. That is going on the menu.
Okay,
And I
we're
love
all
Mexican
coming over.
corn. Mexican corn is so good. Okay, so that needs to happen. And then also, I haven't slept outside yet this summer. I haven't slept on the dock or slept in the backyard or wherever. I just need to sleep outside. Camping, we haven't done it yet.
Okay, well, those are some things that sound fun. Those are some, I kind of went practical. Like, these are the things that need to happen. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about fun, and you did a good job of the assignment, which is fun. So there were a few fun things I added to my list of things I still want to do. There are people I want to have dinner with outside in our backyard with our wood fire pizza oven that Derek made out of a barrel.
I still cannot believe that he made one. I cannot believe he made one.
So we've been doing it the last few weeks. Like, we've brought out the oven, and I thought this is a fun thing that we should have people over. So I ended up texting a few different groups of people. Like, I just sat down and was like, okay, and these people, and these people, and these people. We're not going to end up all scheduling for the same day. So, but I can schedule them all at the same time. So that's my tip. So I'm looking forward to that. We got some dates on the calendar. Early morning surprises for my girls. I love early mornings. I love them.
But I know you really do.
I really do. Like, I was up at 6 this morning, did my workout. Then I went for a walk in the neighborhood, and I just was like, oh, this is the best. I love it so much. It's cool. The sky is beautiful. It's not crowded out. I just love it. And I also know that I love the anticipation of the day is yet to unfold. There's that hopeful feeling of the day could turn out great today. And so I love early mornings and let my kids sleep in, because then I come home and I start working. But I feel like that's a window of opportunity that in the next few weeks, I could wake them up a few times and do something fun, whether it's
Like
go
what?
to go to Starbucks, or there is a bakery in our neighborhood that you have to wait in line. They're only open 4 mornings a week, and so we could go do that, go wait in line, and it is worth the wait, I will tell you. Bakery 4 in Denver, it is worth the wait.
What's the
So,
order? What's the order there?
oh my gosh, everything. It's everything. But the chocolate croissant, they're known for their croissant. So it's just
Well, everyone,
dreamy.
please notice how Alex says croissant.
Croissant. It's a
Please.
chocolate croissant. Okay. Move out prep for Genevieve. See, this is where I start getting practical. Like, we do have someone going to college and we have done no shopping and we need to figure out an action plan here. Though she's going close, and I will say that does help. Being outside more throughout the day, goal I have, because in
Yes.
January it's cold. In
Yep.
August, it's not cold. And I sit in front of my computer all day. So I
Mhm.
need to not. And I have some agency here and I can go for a walk at 10 in the morning and at noon and at 2. Okay, here's another planful thing. We are going to re-landscape our backyard.
You are.
Not
big news.
because, yes, not because, well, it's a very small, 2 very small patches of what used to be grass. Apparently, whoever blew out our sprinklers last winter did not blow out that zone. So our
Oh.
sprinklers are dead back there. It's a big bummer.
Mm.
And it would be thousands and thousands of dollars to fix it. And we are not going to. So we are taking it as an opportunity to re-landscape and re-envision our backyard space.
Oh, are you going Xeriscape?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Now I want to put in a bocce ball, little like bowling lane, Italian bowling. We probably don't have the right dimensions for it, but I feel like we could do some really pretty landscaping around it and have it be a fun space and not have to have something growing in every inch.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see. We're going to
Okay.
see. Yeah. So
Well, you
those
better
are,
get going. You better get going. Your window's
Mhm.
closing.
I know. And it could just be that we're planning for the spring to
Yes.
plant if
Mhm.
we don't get things planted fall. But that is something that we really need to be thinking about as we think about next spring, what we want to
And
be
it's
growing there.
true. Like for those of you that want to do landscaping next
Mhm.
summer, you need to tell them now so that you're on the docket early.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Yes.
far ahead landscape people plan.
Mm-hmm.
And painters, by the way. If you want exterior painting, you got to get on now for next spring.
Okay, noted.
Okay. Alex, what is firing you up
Oh,
these
man.
days?
Man. I posted a meme this week on Facebook and it said, I don't want to party like it's 1999. I want to grocery shop like it's 1999. Because here's what's getting me going. I cannot understand how things are so expensive. I mean,
Mhm.
I understand inflation's a thing, but it is so crazy to me that our dollar does not go very far these days. And it is so crazy to me when I go to the grocery store and I'm like, what? Excuse me? That 2
Mhm.
bags of groceries is how much? So that's what's getting me going. And we are going to talk about what is happening and how can we make our dollars stretch a little bit more than we normally already are trying to do. So first of all, I want to say you are out there and you're listening and you're like high-fiving the air to us. I feel your pain. I feel you. We see you. We know that people are in a hard spot right now. And so as we share our ideas and our tips, know that even what we share might be like, oh, I wish I even had that kind of bandwidth. But we are all doing our best to make the dollar stretch, and we know that you are too. So after you're done listening to this episode, also send us your ideas so we can share some ideas. Maybe in our newsletter, we can do a little bit of a roundup of money saving ideas from our listeners. Krista, what's going on in your house? What are you thinking when you stand in the grocery store checkout aisle and look at what you owe?
Well, it's just, I mean, Eric and I talk about this all the time, like how everyone making ends meet. I mean, life is just expensive, and you have adult kids or young adult kids where they're not totally off your payroll, so to speak, yet. Life is expensive. And so I started looking into why. Why are we all feeling that? Every single one of us, no matter where we are on the economic spectrum, we're all feeling it. And so, what's happening? And I came across a term called greedflation. Have you
Hmm.
ever heard of that, Alex?
No, but it doesn't
Greedflation.
sound very nice.
It's what they're calling it. And what they
Hmm.
say is that many factors like a tight labor market, supply chain challenges, toilet paper shortage,
Hmm.
wars on the other side of the planet, all of these things contribute to inflation. And that also can make the amount that corporate greed contributes to the problem. It's because that is real. Corporate greed is real because, for example, when there was supply chain issues and COVID, prices went up. Well, now that we no longer have that, the prices are still up. And so they're calling that kind of this greedflation, the corporate greed that's happening because the corporations are like, we did it then and
Hmm.
people paid it. So why would we bring our prices down now? So
Right.
that is really happening. Like that actually is a real thing. So maybe your almond milk was $2.99 pre-COVID and now your almond milk is $4.50. Well, that's just like, okay, yeah, that's just almond milk. That's just one
Hmm.
item. But think of
Hmm.
that times 100 items in your cart. It's just that is all happening and that's real. And the corporate world is playing a part in that. But the other thing that actually my husband and I were talking about as we were discussing this podcast episode, he was showing me the increase in wages from even the hospital that he's a part of, and he's in leadership there. And so they were going over, how they've just to maintain the nursing staff, for example,
Hmm.
how they've had to increase wages, how much in such a short period of time. And it's significant. So people are being paid more because the labor force is low right now. And so people are having to pay more to keep people.
Hmm.
However, the
Hmm.
problem is that it's just like housing prices, right?
Hmm.
Is that when things go up, sure, you can sell your house for more, but now you've
Hmm.
got to buy for more.
Hmm.
Sure, your wage has gone up, but you're still paying more for everything else. So it's just this weird, wonky thing. So you think you should have more money because your wage is maybe increasing, but you don't.
Yes. There you just summarized my life. Because a year ago, transitioned from part-time to full-time work. So my wage was doubled essentially. But I don't have double the buying power that I did a year
Right.
ago. And so it is painful. And we know, if you're listening, that you understand, you feel this. So let's talk about some of the practical things that we are doing right now in
Mhm.
our homes with our budgets to make the dollar stretch. And some of these things are tried and true savings
Mhm.
ideas that we have been implementing for a long time. So it just could be just a reminder to you or us reminding ourselves, or maybe it's something that we're doing differently this time around because something circumstances have changed. So the number one thing I hear people talk about is groceries, groceries,
Yes,
groceries, groceries,
hands down.
because they have gone up like 20% or something in the last 12 months. So, and it's something we all use and we all need.
Mhm.
Krista, what are you doing about making your dollar stretch when it comes to groceries?
This has been something that I've done for a long time, but I think it's especially necessary now. Maybe before it was more for convenience, but meal planning. Meal planning because you're not wasting any ingredients and you're not buying things you're not going to use.
Mm-hmm.
So, really just trying to eliminate waste, trying to eliminate things going bad or sitting on the shelf forever. Because even if we
Mm-hmm.
buy it and it's shelf stable, can
Mm-hmm.
of beans, it's still money that we're not using because it's sitting there and we don't have a plan for it. The black
Mm-hmm.
beans are just sitting there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, meal planning and making sure that everything that I'm buying that's going into my cart has a purpose.
Mm-hmm. And even behind that, I hear, so that's like planning for the future. Also, hear you saying, do an inventory of what's in your home
Yes.
that you can use and add
Mhm.
to, but maybe you already own half of the ingredients that are sitting on your shelf.
Right. And sometimes
Mhm.
we just need to The problem is the organization, right? That's where we get
Mhm.
tripped up is we're like, we open the freezer and we're like, we have nothing to eat. But actually, okay, there's a piece of fish there that's still frozen. And so
Mhm.
maybe it's not even a meal that you can do with one item in your freezer, but maybe you can take that piece of fish and then chicken, and then maybe you do taco night, and some people do fish tacos and some do chicken tacos. And
Mhm.
so trying to get creative with what do I have and eat out of the freezer for a while until you actually use it up. And
Mhm.
then really meal plan before you go. And it's a little time up front, but it does save so much money on the back end.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
of course, shopping, like we have Winco, for example,
Mhm.
in and I know several places, not all states have Winco, but it is significantly cheaper to shop at Winco than it is any other grocery store in town.
Mhm.
So, what are the things you get at Costco? What are the things you get at Winco? Some people, love the bargain grocery stores that you just go in and you see what they have and then you make recipes based on what they have. So, those are all things that I think are helpful. How about you?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I would say, and be mindful of what you get at Costco. I'm speaking to myself here, that sometimes we buy 100 of something that ends up sitting on the shelf, one.
Mhm.
But sometimes also we think because it's at Costco, it's less expensive. And I think there are some things that you can have true savings at Costco, but there are some things that either it's a wash, and so it's not great to buy it in bulk, or it's actually a little bit more expensive.
Mhm.
So to do some price checking and not just make assumptions. Well, I would say the tried and true thing that has always been helpful to me and still is true is that if you shop the perimeter of the grocery store rather than the things in the middle, it's
Mhm.
going to be less expensive unless you're at Sprouts, which is down the street from us because all of our produce is in the middle of the store. But essentially, what it's saying, this principle, is that the fresh stuff is going to be healthier and is also going to be more economical to buy. So, dairy, produce, fresh meat, rather than prepackaged and processed things. So, you may have to go to the store more often. You may have to actually cook more, but it's going to be healthier and it's in the end going to be less expensive. So, that's kind of the general principle. Okay, the cost of meat. That has been a big topic. My husband's a big meat eater. That has been a big topic in our house. So maybe just doing veggie night a couple nights a week. So that's burrito bowls, some kind of stir fry, something that is really capitalizing on the vegetables and paninis, but not going for meat. And I will say, for several years now, we have been buying beef from a rancher here in Colorado, directly from the rancher. And it has always been a little bit more expensive than what we would get at the grocery store, but we figured that it was better quality. So we were paying for the quality. And now it's actually not that much more expensive because we're cutting out the middle person. It still has raised some, but it hasn't raised at the same rate that everything else has. So if you can buy directly from your growers, your suppliers, you're going to cut out some of that profit margin that obviously a store would offer.
Are doing the same. We bought a half cow this year, and I will
Mhm.
just say the hardest part to buying from a local farmer, which I fully advocate, is the sticker shock of the one-time
Uh-huh.
cost. You
Yeah.
just have to plan for that sticker shock, but actually if you actually calculated out how much you would spend in a year, it is for sure on our case a savings.
Mhm.
However, one-time payment, and that does feel like a lot of money in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Okay, what's next?
Well, if we're looking at how we can save,
Mhm.
gas
Mhm.
is in there, and that's an up and down item. Sometimes
Mhm.
gas is really expensive, sometimes it's not. So, what are you doing to save on gas these days?
I mean, it does feel like one of those expenses that we just have to pay it. Like if we need gas, we need gas.
Mhm.
So, working from home is helpful. Having kids go to schools that are less than a mile from our home is helpful. But it is one of those things that people have a hard time cutting out if you are dependent on your car to get to work, if you are dependent on your car to get your kids to school.
Ah. I know, and it's trying to consolidate, how
Mhm,
much you're going, where you're going. I'll say I'm a huge fan of the hybrid and electric trend because I do think even though it's like the beef, you may pay a
mhm,
little more upfront for a used electric or hybrid vehicle, but actually you save so much money on gas. Like it's
mhm,
kind of crazy how much money you spend on gas.
mhm,
Even our rental car in Europe was a hybrid, and I was shocked at
hmm,
how little we had to pay for gas. It was amazing. So, I guess thinking long term, that could be a way in the future.
mhm. Well, that is how we're trending nationally.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's better for the environment too.
Mhm.
Okay, how about trips and vacations?
I don't know if you've heard of the 1985 summer trend. We're bringing it back, the 1985 summer, which means you ride your bike around the block and you watch reruns on TV and
Mhm.
you stare at the wall. I think it's okay, and it actually can be a really great summer experience to just be bored. And now we're starting to get into the school year, but kind of like just bring the 1980s back.
Mhm.
That Thanksgiving, we're going to be home. Christmas, we're going to be home. Spring break, also home.
Mhm.
So there's that option. I have really, this last summer, been trying to focus on maximizing where we live. The whole staycation idea of what do we not do that's in our own city, in our own community? Because if we took full advantage of these things, we would be busy all the time and we wouldn't be thinking about the trips we're not taking.
Totally.
And you and I both live in beautiful places. And for my birthday, for example, I would have loved to have gone on a really big, fun vacation. Wasn't happening. But for the day, I drove an hour away up into the mountains, went on a hike, had
Mhm.
lunch by the river, came home and slept in my own bed. And it was lovely. And I
Mhm.
didn't have to do all of the things to make it happen. Every community has a beautiful thing. So I would say make the most of where you live. And we even took that more micro this summer in that we have a garden, a vegetable garden. So getting to the landscaping situation, this has been part of it. My husband has gone a little cray cray on the vegetable garden situation. But what is wonderful is that every night he's out there watering,
Mhm.
weeding, puttering, but it gives our location purpose and a
It's true.
grounding. And
Yep.
it also, again, takes away that temptation of, oh, I wish we were somewhere else. No, because we got to be here. We got to tend to the garden. So it's building roots, literal roots,
Mhm.
so that we aren't tempted to be thinking about what we're not doing.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I'm very pro garden. Very
uh-huh.
pro garden. I love that.
Mhm. Mhm.
The only thing I would add is, look into a home exchange program. Go
Mhm.
camping,
Mhm.
host each other, like friends,
Yeah.
go to friends' houses, host each other, use friends' pools if they have one.
Mhm.
Just take advantage of your relationships and get outside. Outside, you
Mhm.
can go camping. You can camp in
Mhm.
your backyard, but you can also drive somewhere. And that's inexpensive, and those make the best memories. So,
Mhm.
get creative. You're creative in
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Okay, clothes. Let's talk clothes. What are you doing
Mm.
to save money?
There are a few things that I'm doing very intentionally at this phase of my life that I didn't do 10 or 20 years ago. So I've always been a big thrifter, but now I'm very into my colors. I'm also trying to highlight parts of my body that are flattering. I used to just be able to wear anything. Well, not everything fits me. So I have been more intentional in my shopping, both thrifting and then clearance shopping. So ThreadUp is the online kind of warehouse of thrifting where you can look up items by brand, size, color, um, and they have hundreds of thousands of items. So you can really do kind of a search. And I just every once in a while think, I would really like a black blazer. Okay, I'm a size 4 petite these days up top. I'm going to put in all my things and I'm going to see what I can find. And I get stuff that's new with tags at a fraction of the cost of what they would have been last season in the store. So I also know the brands that I like, so I put those in. And it's just being very intentional about what I'm looking for as I build my wardrobe. So, for example, the earrings I'm wearing right now. Most of my jewelry is gold, but I'm trying to up the silver because of my colors. Silver is supposed to be more flattering, so I'm trying to be intentional about that. So I bought these earrings on clearance at the Loft online clearance sale where they have an additional 70% off sale items. So they ended up being like $4. So I didn't go buy them full price, and I also didn't just buy whatever was on sale. Having those parameters just decreases shopping in general. My girls love to thrift. Now, when I go to the thrift store with them, I'm like, okay, these are the two things I'm looking for. I'm very into belts right now because my waist has changed the size, so my old belts don't fit. And also, the ladies that were on our podcast, Julia and Krista, when they were talking about dressing stylish in midlife, they were very into belts. And I thought, I have not given the belt the proper attention in my wardrobe. So I'm trying to be intentional. So those are a few things. If you want a referral link for ThreadUp where you get an additional 40% off, we will put that in the show notes. And then I would say pay attention to the websites of your favorite brands. So I regularly look at certain stores' websites kind of end of season because then things are getting put on an additional clearance. And that's where you really save is when it's like clearance on top of clearance.
Exactly. And I would say that's my tip too. And I also, what I hear you saying, and I feel the same way, is buy less, but get more bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the color that actually does look good on you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's an app you used. You haven't done color analysis. I just got it done. But you can use an app to do an AI color analysis. It's not perfect, but you can just try and see how it goes. But I mean, we also can just use our common sense and hold it up to our face and say, does this look good on me? Does this make my eyes pop? Or does get more bang for your buck by buying things that look good on you and just buy less of them.
Yeah. And having those parameters, I think, of like color, fit, what do I actually need, help me say no rather than, oh, it's just on sale. It's just a good price.
Right.
So
I that this spring, I was trying to find a kind of trench-like coat for Europe because I thought I would need that. Turns out I didn't need it, but I ordered it off of the J. Crew final sale. I put it on, and my son said, and he said, "Hi, Costanza." That is how
nailed it. That's exactly what I was going for. That is the look I was going for.
That is how good it looked. Was George Costanza, and I was like, okay, this is the worst because now I just bought something I can't return, and even though it was on clearance, I can't return it, and I'm never going to wear it because I look like George Costanza in it. So I guess all that to say, right, there's this balance of like finding a good deal, but then also can you return it because you may look like George Costanza in it.
That's right. That's right. And
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about school supplies because that's coming up. So how do you save money on school supplies and what your kids?
Well, one thing is this gets to like the kitchen. Shop in your own home. So if you need pencils, go through that drawer of pencils and pick out what's going to work and what's not. So I would say that is one big tip. If you have the freedom, different districts, different schools have different ways of doing school shopping. But if you have the freedom to pick out your own stuff, and you may just already have it. I did mention my kids are thrifters. So for school clothes, one of my girls goes to a school that has a dress code. So she can't just wear whatever she wants. But we thrift with that dress code. And again, it's just the parameters. We know we're looking for certain things. We're doing college dorm shopping. And I'm on some parent Facebook groups. And people are kind of going crazy. And other parents who are more seasoned are saying, no, do not buy those things. If they need those things, Amazon will deliver to the dorm. So to temper the emotion, because I think this is one area where we as moms could be emotionally buying for our children. I need to get them everything they need to be okay when we say goodbye, and I'm not there to take care of them.
Yeah.
Amazon will deliver the cough syrup in February when they need the cough syrup, if they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they may not need it, and it's going to be thrown in the trash along with the money that was spent on it.
Yeah.
So keep your emotions in check, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then also take advantage of payment plans. So we are on the orthodontist payment plan. This is the first year we're going to do a tuition payment plan. We haven't done that before. But if they're interest free, you might be making money by your money being somewhere else and then putting it monthly towards whatever. So take advantage of that too, because that, like the beef, can help spread out the cost so that it feels more manageable to be able to take on whatever it is you needing to take on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it got a little away from school supplies, but just kid things.
I think that's all really good. And I think as we look at, okay, inflation is happening, budgets are tighter, everything costs more. We just may have to recalibrate what we did before versus what we're going to do now. And I think that's what I also hear you saying, even with the college dorm shopping, that let's recalibrate. Maybe in an ideal world, we would set up the perfect Pinterest dorm room, but that's not where we are. And so how do we hit refresh on that assumption that that's what you have to do? And how do we then adjust and say, okay, let's get what is needed. Let's get what is needed here with maybe a couple fun extra things like a Keurig or whatever. And maybe that's in the need category for a lot. But, what is needed? And then how can I kind of scale back my expectations that I've put on myself for what it actually needs to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 1985 summer, we could have 1985 dorm room. We could have, think about our dorm room.
Oh, yeah.
There was no Pinterest.
Right.
Yeah. And it gets to expectations. I just want to say we're in this together, and we know that we would like to be spending money on fun things. I mean, I would like to be, but to recognize we're fortunate to be able to buy the things that we can. And there are some things we can do to just tighten the belt a little bit, the belt that you buy at the thrift store. It can be cute and tight.
I want to end by reading something actually that I read in a devotional this morning. And this is from Tara Lee Cobble. And she's speaking about the verse in Matthew 6:28 and 29 that says, "Why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these." And she says, God is your provider. He knows all your needs. He is attentive to them. That means you have enough for this moment and the next and the next. Are there places where you've forgotten this? Thank Him for meeting your needs in the past. Ask Him to meet your needs in the present. Trust Him to meet your needs in the future. Rest in the peace of His provision. He is where the joy is.
Amen to that.